An Albuquerque native who had already made his mark in the tech world now finds himself atop a different list, having just been awarded one of the most prestigious awards in the world of food. Dean Staley introduces us to the baker who unlocked the secrets to the perfect loaf.
I always cut in the middle first.
There are few things that make Mauricio Leo happier than cutting into his own handmade, fresh-baked loaf of bread.
You know, this is kind of my preferred style.
The Albuquerque native is a master bread baker, a story that starts about 25,000 loaves ago. The St. Pius grad was fresh out of New Mexico Tech with a computer science degree when he took a job at Honeywell. Leo and some co-workers designed an astronomy app in the very early days of the App Store. That app took off, eventually reaching 60 million downloads.
I was at home and I was just working on software all day, and I kind of wanted something to actually do, like engage with my hands.
This successful tech entrepreneur's life took a turn when his aunt gave him a book on bread, and the science of natural yeast piqued his interest.
So I get the book and I kind of fall head over heels for the process and the story and working with that kind of healthy food.
This computer scientist, code writer, app developer became obsessed with bread, making bread every week, then a couple of times a week, until he was baking every day.
There was this huge sourdough baking boom that happened right when everybody was kind of stuck at home.
Leo found a community online swapping recipes and tips.
Only a few websites out there, and they were like, like those really niche communities online where it's just like a bunch of kind of weirdos talking about their obsession, and that's really what it was like.
So the computer scientist made his own website.
I mean, it was dramatic. Like I think it was March, 2020. I woke up one morning and I was looking at my website. All of a sudden my inbox was like, thousands of emails deep. The traffic to my site was, like astronomical. Like I couldn't even keep up.
In 2019, with his website exploding, a publisher approached Leo about making a cookbook about bread. This spring, Leo's baking book, The Perfect Loaf, won the James Beard Award for the best book on bread.
When they announced the book and my name, it was one of those weird, like, out-of-body things where you're like, is this really happening?
This computer scientist had cracked the code, sharing with others how to make the perfect loaf.
Baking bread is really, I think, appeals to both for me. It's super precise. You need to measure everything out to the gram. But then there's the kind of craft and iteration and working on recipes that I think my engineering side kind of likes.
Which is more exacting? Writing computer code or making sourdough?
That's a great question. I think probably computer code, because it double checks you. It doesn't run if it's not 100% correct. But that attention to correctness, for me, definitely follows over into the mix that I'm doing that day in the kitchen. I think there's something about having these crafts where you're working on something over and over. And then for me, there's something more about actually handling and dealing with the dough. It's alive. It requires you to pay attention closely to really minute things as it's developing. The weather, how much water you have in the dough, how you're mixing it.
25,000 loaves later, the love affair continues.
How's that feel, like, having made this?
Amazing. Every time. It never gets old.
Dean Staley, KRQE, News 13.
Leo actually got a head start in the world of food working at Mimo's on the west side, a restaurant his father owned for more than 4 decades. His website is theperfectloaf.com. We have a link at alwaysonkRQE.com.